Amy's day. In a small house surrounded by colorful flowers, lived the little girl Amy. Her rolls of gold, like the light of the afternoon, scattered the light wantonly. Her big watery eyes, like clear lake water, are the curiosity of the world. In the morning, the soft light is like a golden curtain, penetrating the window, softly in Amy's small bed, which is decorated with a cartoon doll. Amy's eyes dazed, and she felt the warm light shining on it, and she was instantly refreshed. She was softly beaten inside, suddenly sat up, stretched her big waist, as if to release the vitality of her whole body, and then shouted in a bright and clear voice, "Good morning, world." After shouting, she was naked, like a fast bunny, and bounced to the front of her clothes. She looked up at the sack, and her eyes dripped through the clothes. Suddenly, she remembered the last time she wore that dress to her children, and the adoring eyes of her friends, and the corners of her mouth were not on the ground. She thought to herself, "Today I want to be the little princess in the eyes of my friends, and I will wear that color dress." Amy quickly took out the dress, put it on carefully, and picked out a pair of pink shoes. Dressed all over, she stood in front of the box and made a good circle. She was like a little princess walking out of the box. She was so impressed that she smiled, and the corners of her mouth were almost grinning. Amy hummed an unbelievable tune and trotted all the way to the room. As soon as she was in the room, she saw that she was busy in front of the table with a beautiful dress. On the dining table, there were golden bread, boiled eggs, and milk. Amy's eyes suddenly lit up, and her heart was full of joy. And she said, "Wow, it's all my food. It's so good." She sat down on the small chair in front of the dining table, picked up the bread and bit it, and the mold of the slides and swings in the sea was floating in the sea. She thought that she could play with her little friends and eat even more. After breakfast, Amy went to the mouth, with her favorite cartoon image printed on her back. Her heart was pounding like a bunny at the thought of being able to reach her long-awaited companions. She skipped to the front of the bunny, tapped her hands hard, and shouted crisply, "No, no more. I'm going to the baby." The baby stopped what she was doing, smiled and touched Amy's baby, and replied softly, "No more, no more. You have to be careful in the baby." Amy hummed a song and walked quickly to the baby. When she arrived at the mouth, she saw all kinds of rain companions, some like rainbows and multicolored spots, some like small mushrooms, and some transparent enough to see raindrops falling. Amy's eyes were shining brightly, thinking in her heart, "It's raining today, and we will definitely be able to play different flowers." She couldn't wait to run over and greet her companions affectionately. "Good morning, everyone. Let's play in the rain together today." The companions returned, and everyone was all smiles. The morning was here, and the old children came to the young flowers. In the flowers, the raindrops were like dead pearls, which kept falling. Amy's eyes were suddenly attracted by a small chrysanthemum in the rain. The little chrysanthemum was swaying in the rain, and the raindrops were on its tender petals, like clear pearls. Amy was fascinated and couldn't help but feel in her heart. The flower is like a fairy in a child's shop, and the raindrops are her pearls. So beautiful. She couldn't help pulling the corner of Lau's clothes and pointed to the little chrysanthemum. "Old, look at the flower. The raindrops are like it's wearing. So beautiful." Lau smiled. Amy noticed really. At noon, the little ant pushed the meal and walked to the classroom. On the meal was fragrant rice, colorful vegetables, and meat that people drooled at. Amy's stomach was already growling. When she saw some delicious food, her eyes widened and she couldn't wait to pick up the spoon. She gulped down and thought to herself, "It's so delicious. I need to eat more so that I can play with my little friends in the afternoon." Not a single grain of rice was left in front of her. In the afternoon, the rain stopped, and a sack of rice was poked out of the room. The old man followed the children to the exercise, and the ground was a little wet, reflecting the light of too much light. The old man smiled and greeted everyone. "Children, let's play a game of stepping on shadows." As soon as Amy jumped, she thought, I must step on more people's shadows. It started. Amy was like an agile little monkey, jumping from left to right, running and staring at the shadows of her companions, watching, stepping down sharply, shouting, "Haha, I stepped on your shadow." Last time, the children laughed and shouted quickly. When it was released, Amy carried the small bag on her back and stood at the mouth of the child. Seeing the familiar figure, she immediately ran away. All the way, Amy was planning to tell her a lot of interesting things about her children. As soon as she arrived, she couldn't wait to hold her hand and share the funny things of her children. It's raining today. We inspected the plants in the rain and played stepping on the shadow. It's fun. One day, she smiled and was infected by Amy's happiness. When she got home, Amy played in the yard as usual. Suddenly, there was a baby cow crawling slowly in the small puddle. Amy squatted down curiously, staring at the baby cow without blinking. Looking at the baby cow's slow crawling back with heavy shoes, her heart was filled with doubts. Where are they going to crawl with heavy shoes on their backs? Amy wakes up and walks around. Hey, look at these little cows. They are crawling so slowly on their backs. Amy looked in the direction Amy was pointing, smiled, and said, "Amy, do you want to make a picture of a calf?" Amy's eyes lit up, and she clapped her hands. Okay. Amy ran back to the room, took out the penis, and sat at the small table. She actually made a calf. She imagined the scene of the calf in the flower. Some calves crawled hard to explore more places. Some of the calves were resting on the cows, enjoying the noontime meal. Some of the calves were eating the tender cows with relish. After a while, a picture of the raw cows was ready. When he walked away, he saw Amy's cows and said, "Amy, you've done a great job. The cows look so real." Amy was stunned, and her heart felt sweet as if she had eaten honey. Her face was filled with a proud smile, and her eyes were squinted into a crescent moon. In the evening, Amy took a comfortable bath in the warm bathtub and put on her soft pajamas. She climbed into bed, leaned against the pillow, and sat on the bed, typing a story, and began to tell her a good story. Amy's eyelids grew deeper and deeper, and she thought silently in her heart, "Today is really a heartfelt day, and I hope tomorrow will be interesting too." Slowly, she closed her eyes and smiled sweetly at the corners of her mouth. In the park, she and her friends played together, running in the rain and stepping on shadows. The light was like a golden veil, softly shining on Amy's little house. Amy woke up in the morning light as usual, with the anticipation of a new day in her eyes. She dressed quickly, and today she wore a white dress printed with a bunny case, with a pair of black shoes. Looking at herself in the vest, Amy smiled inwardly, revealing her small teeth. Amy skipped to the room to show off her new look to the man who was having breakfast, of course. "My Amy looks beautiful today, like a little princess," Amy smiled and said. Amy's toast is covered with thick strawberry fruit, which is Amy's best. Amy ate the bread and followed them around. "I'm really looking forward to it today." Thinking of the slides and swings in the public park and the large areas of grass, Amy's eyes lit up, and the bread in her mouth was even more delicious. After breakfast, Amy carried a small bag of snacks and toys on her back and told the buyer, "Dear, I'll have a great time in the public place. Dear, please pay attention to safety and pay attention to the old ones." Ding ding said. When they arrived at the young house, the children had already gathered, and everyone chatted about today's public trip, and everyone was full of smiles. Amy was like a fast fawn, quickly running to the small group of companions. She put the small bag on the ground, couldn't wait to beat it, and took out the small bag of snacks. "Look, I've bought a lot of delicious food." Amy raised the bag high, her eyes sparkling. There are sweet chocolate beans and crispy potato chips. It's delicious. "Wow, Amy, your snacks look so good." Little Fanny's eyes were wide open as she licked her lips. "Let's eat together." Amy generously divided the snacks among her friends. Then Amy grabbed another handful of potato chips. Little Fatty eagerly stuffed them into his mouth. chewed them, and vaguely said, "It's delicious. Amy, you're so kind." The other little friends also got snacks, and everyone shared their expectations. The classroom was filled with laughter, as if to break the house. In the old room, the children arrived at the park in a row. As soon as they arrived, Amy was attracted by the beauty in front of her. 5 and 6 colored flowers were placed together, like fire, pink like summer, and white like snow. Among the flowers, butterflies and bees were busy dancing. Amy pointed to a big sunflower. "Look, that sunflower seems to be smiling at us. Amy, let's go to the slide over there," Ming said, holding Amy's hand. Okay. Amy skipped to the slide with her little friends. The slide was high and creepy, and Amy climbed up the staircase without hesitation, and then slid down the staircase with a whoosh, whistling in her ear. Amy screamed in her heart. Wow, so much fun! After a slide, the old man played hide and seek. Amy's eyes dripped, and she found a bush to hide. She covered the bushes with her hands, covered her mouth, and measured herself without making a sound. She was both confused and confused, secretly surveying the outside world without blinking. After a while, a small group of people walked away, and Amy couldn't help laughing out loud. She covered her mouth with her hand and trembled slightly because of her smile. Suddenly, Ming Da shouted, "I found you, little one." The little one who was found walked out of the room, and everyone laughed heartily. All the little friends were found, and everyone started a new one. Amy went to the place again and hid in a large noodle, giggling and waiting for her little friends to find her. At noon, the children sat together and shared their own lunch. Amy took out the sandwich, took a bite, and it tasted good. She saw that Xiaolian had juice next to her, so she took her juice. "Xiaolian, let's drink together." Xiaolin's eyes lit up, and she gratefully accepted the juice. "That's great, Amy." The children smiled at each other, and Amy took out her own small box and divided it into weeks of small-scale companions. Everyone ate and chatted, sharing each other's fast food. In the afternoon, there was a group of children in the public room. Amy and the small-scale companions ran around, took out crumbs and fed them. Amy carefully touched his feathers, and her heart was filled with joy. They are so cute. They are not afraid of people at all. Lily was beside him. "Look, Amy, the feathers of this little girl are so white, like cotton." Amy smiled and replied, "Yes, it must be the little princess in the girl." Everyone was feeding their babies, and as soon as you said it, I was laughing at their babies and books and returning over the bus. When the release arrived, Amy was a little tired, but her heart was full of excitement. She couldn't wait to tell the funny thing about today's work. When she got home, Amy ran in front of her like a fast baby, frowning. "Hey, I played slides and hide and seek in the public house today, and I fed my kids. It was so much fun. You are very happy today. Did you share your snacks with your friends? It's more fun too. Share it. Everyone eats together." Amy proudly. In the evening, Amy got out of the shower, put on her pajamas, and lay on the bed. Sitting on the bed, Amy told her a story about small things. As Amy told the story, her eyelids became deeper and deeper, and she thought to herself, "Today is a really fast day, and tomorrow I have more interesting things to do." Slowly, Amy put on a sweet smile, and in the room, she and her little friends played happily in the public room.